Blessed are we. We have arrived. That's right. Hope you guys are having a fantastic start to your weekend. Of course, we're going to give you our celebrity guest picker. And as usual, we have a fantastic guest on today. You've seen him all over the place. If you enjoy music, you definitely know who he is. Taylor Hicks. His tour's coming in the spring. Obviously, in his past, he's won American Idol. The guy's incredibly talented. Out in Texas right now, Taylor Hicks. First off, welcome, brother.
Yeah.
And second off, thanks for coming on, dude. Let's go.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, hit that harmonica one time for us, dog. Let's see it. Oh, I love it. I love it. I could never do that.
Now.
I played a recorder one time in school. It didn't really work out well.
Didn't work out well.
Yeah, the mixtape's coming, but I definitely don't need to play an instrument. But Taylor, right now you're out in Dallas. Got a show coming up here pretty soon as well, huh?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I'm doing a show in Grapevine, Texas, and got some shows over the fall. I've got a big thing that I do for Toys for Tots in Birmingham, where I'll take Rod Stewart, do some Rod Stewart.
Nice.
But yeah, I tour a pretty good bit, whether it's, between private shows and public shows. I probably do, right now under the record cycle, probably, 10 or 15 a month. I stay pretty busy, but I'm going on 20 years in show business. So,
wow,
that's a long time to ride the roads, but man, I'm a road dog. It's interesting. I was talking to a couple of people. I'm kind of a journeyman, like you have I feel like a journeyman QB in show business.
Literally.
I've played on a bunch of teams. I've done a bunch of stuff, and I think honestly, the journeyman mentality, in my opinion, gains the most respect.
For sure.
I'm out there busting it, man, still doing it, and thanks for having me on.
Of course. Well, from seeing you on Leno, you've done so much in your career and had so much success. 20 years in show business, most people don't make it through 2, and you're still rocking and rolling. You deserve everything that you've accomplished, man, and it's an honor to have you. Before I kick it over to my colleagues here to ask you what they want to ask you, talk to me just for a second. Again, you went to Auburn, right? You lived in Hoover growing up. My father went to Berry High School before it was Hoover. Can you just talk about what college football kind of means to you and growing up, how it kind of affected you?
Well, what's interesting is that I always like to say that Alabama and Auburn fans agreed on one thing in their whole lives, and I think that was the night that I won American Idol.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna mess that up. So I've had to toe the line pretty good in the state of Alabama, because I am in the record business, the business of selling music. So it was everything. My family, obviously the whole world revolves around college football, especially in Birmingham. And that was just something that, we grew up doing. I played at Berry High School under Coach Finley and played basketball there. So, obviously the Hoover High School program in Alabama was synonymous for some pretty good football, and still is to a certain degree. But yeah, I was, it's a blessing to come from that part of the world. It's the heart of Dixie. And, we definitely had a good time following college football in that state.
Oh, I know all about it.
Well, talking about Alabama, that's the first game up in our slate here,
Great segue.
Taylor. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 5 marquee matchups for the weekend, and we're going to pick the winners. We're going to go around. So far, we've had David Pollock, Joey Molinaro. So the bar's been set kind of high, but we really believe in you. Alabama's going to go on the road and play Wisconsin in a cool SEC Big Ten matchup. Jake, why don't you get us started with your pick?
Yeah, and it's a game we've been breaking down all week. And with all due respect to Wisconsin, this is going to be like a murder mystery, but we know who did it at the beginning. It's Alabama. And I think Luke Fickell's a hell of a coach. He's going to have a great plan for them defensively. Phil Longo does a really good job. I'm having trouble finding a way that Tyler Van Dyke is going to be able to consistently move the ball with his lack of mobility against this Alabama defense. And then on the flip side, I don't think there's anybody in the state of Wisconsin outside of the Green Bay Packers roster that when push comes to shove can tackle Jalen Milroe and some of the guys that Alabama has. So the plan's great, the scheme will be great, but that's not what wins games. Players win games. I like Alabama in this one. I like Alabama big in this one. And we had a great full breakdown of this earlier in the week as well. But, this smells like I mean, 45-17 game to me is what it is.
Blaine, Wisco?
Well, I believe the spread is sitting at 16.5. It's been fluctuating from there, and 15.5. This is a tough game. Alabama's going to win the game, but I don't think they cover the spread. And the reason I say this is because if you go back and watch that USF game, Alabama's defense knew exactly what USF wanted to do and couldn't stop it. All right, Wisconsin hasn't looked great on offense, but I do think they're going to be able to have some success running the football, and Van Dyke will make a couple plays. Jalen Milroe will be the difference in this game, and it's on the road for Alabama. So Alabama does win, but Wisconsin does cover.
All right, Taylor, people in Wisconsin like to listen to music too. So you going to take the Badgers, or what are you going to do here?
You know, I did Teen Angel in the Broadway touring production of Grease, and I was able to do Grease in Madison, Wisconsin for about 3 weeks, and that is one of the coolest and funnest college towns in America. And I know that all the Alabama fans that I talk to that are going up there are super excited about going up to Camp Randall. I think that they're excited about the experience up there. I just think, look, if push comes to shove, like you said, I just think Alabama's a more talented football team. I think a lot of people don't give Alabama the credit for their front seven. I think Jaheim Otis, Campbell, Keenan. I mean, those guys are very easily could be, higher first round and second round draft picks from in the NFL. I think that I just have a hard time thinking that the way Alabama played last game, that they're going to go up there and lay an egg. I think it's not going to. I think it's going to be a little vanilla. I think it's going to be kind of an old smash mouth kind of football game. I don't think DeBoer's. Look, I've been to practice over there. I know DeBoer's. He has the element of surprise this year. A lot of people haven't really studied for DeBoer's stuff in the SEC. I think Alabama goes up there and plays well. I think it's going to be right at the number.
My man does his research.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. Alabama certainly has a lot to clean up from last week. First of all, penalties. I think they've committed 20 in the first 2 weeks.
11.
Second of all, turnovers. Hey, let's get under center and get a snap. That'd be a great place to start. I know Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan, all those guys are working on that. I still think last week said more about South Florida, though, than Alabama. South Florida 2 years in a row now. I mean, this is what they do. That's a good football club down there. I have a lot of respect for Wisconsin. I will never forgive Humping Badger for what he did in Lady Ballers,
Nobody
though.
will, David.
So I'm going to take Alabama to win the game and to cover.
Good.
Maybe by 30.
That's
Not
a
by
good
30.
David.
Let's don't get
Yeah,
carried
we'll make that
away. Roll Tide, though, on that. All right, second one. Cool matchup here. Oregon State gonna host Oregon in a not a conference matchup anymore, but still an in-state rivalry, Jake.
And Oregon State, we talked about this. They didn't get brought to the Big Ten or the Big 12. They're kind of like the last kid picked in dodgeball at PE. Them in Washington State, who happens to play Washington as well this week. But when you watch the way this Oregon State team plays, yes, Jonathan Smith has gone to Michigan State, but there's a lot of similarities. I think they know who they are. They're getting this game at home. And nothing is a more motivating factor than having people tell you you're not good enough. Not only are you not good enough, but Oregon's good enough to go to the Big Ten, and a lot of people are picking them to win it, and I understand why. But Oregon's looked a little bit leaky these first couple of weeks, right? And it hasn't just been one thing. If it was just one thing, all right, we can overcome it and fix it and get better. You look that first week, they struggled offensively against an Idaho team that they're way better than. You got to give credit to Idaho, but Oregon should run through them. Then last week, defensively against Boise State, you, me, and everybody in the world knew that Ashton Jonty was going to run the ball. That's what Boise State does. And they needed 2 touchdowns on special teams to be able to win the game. And he almost ran for 2 bills and had 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I think Oregon wins this game. I think it's ugly. I think it's low scoring, but I really like the Beavers to dam up and cover this one.
Okay, I like it. I think this is going to be Oregon's coming out party this week.
Wow.
We're
I remember yours.
to see the Oregon team we've all expected this year. I think if you go back to last week against Boise State, that running back Boise State have Ashton's an absolute dog. I wouldn't be surprised if he won the Heisman at the end of the year the way that he's playing. But I think Dan Lanning will have this defense ready from a formation standpoint, where you're supposed to be and making plays in space. I like Oregon to win and to cover.
Taylor?
Lanning is a great coach. I mean, if you look at it, I just think Lanning's got more talent. I think a lot of people are kind of like you said, they're saying Oregon could be leaky. I think this is a really good spot here where Oregon could come out and smash Oregon State and make a statement. I don't think as big as the statement as the Alabama is what Alabama's had to deal with. But yeah, I don't see Oregon's offensive line being completely under the gun here. I think that look, we're talking 2 games. Football takes a while to gel, man. And you got an opportunity here. I like Oregon.
Yeah.
You asked me on the Sunday recap, is Oregon fraudulent? And I said, let's don't go there just yet. Let's get a little bit bigger sample size here. I agree that this is the week we either find out they are fraudulent, at least not a top 3 team in the country like they
not what we
unanimously were, right? Every single ranking had that. Or that we look and say, oh, yeah, there they go. That they are who we thought they were.
I'm MB.
Yeah, this is the week I think we find that out. I'm going to take Oregon State in this game. Almost 600 rushing yards so far in the
straight
first
up. You're taking them straight up.
Oregon State for the same reason that I took Oklahoma State and Bedlam last year. We don't know how long they're going to keep playing each other, right? You left, you went to a new conference. Give me Oregon State in the upset, and you're going to see that repeated in my dog picks this week.
Okay, I like.
Next one up,
Florida
hosting Texas A&M.
Yeah, this is, we've seen Connor Wegman's health has kind of been questioned. He struggled a little bit, in the Notre Dame game. Didn't look like he trusted it a lot. Florida and Billy Napier have a quarterback situation going on. This just feels like, and Florida seems more dysfunctional, right? Mike Elko's in his first year at A&M. Eugene Wilson is questionable, may play, may not play. That's one of Florida's big threats. I love the under in this game. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be low scoring. And I think the team will lose this game. A team will not win it, which most of the time they do. And Florida, to me, it's just watching them be disorganized over and over and over again. I don't think you get more organized by playing a younger quarterback. I think A&M outlasts them. I'm telling you, this one's got like 16 to 15 written all over it. I think it's ugly. We got the Uncle Fester special, but I think A&M squeaks by. And Billy Napier, it's, start playing that little mini violin, put him on the raft, push him down the river. It's
Blaine,
going to be
where are you going with this?
I think this is the week Billy Napier saves his job.
Really?
Ooh.
Look,
Wait a minute. Wait.
Saves it for how long?
All you've done is clown Billy.
Until next week.
Yeah. I think, look, if you look at these teams, one, I haven't been impressed with anything Connor Wegman's done this year at all with the 2 games they've played. 2, if Florida can do anything, all right, they can run the ball. Montreal Johnson is a beast. Texas A&M does not know how to stop the run. I think this is going to be a close game, a one-possession game. And the reason I'm going with Florida because this game is at the Swamp. And if you're Florida and Billy Napier, you need something to go right early. All right, you need hope and you need belief in the stands.
Yeah.
If you find yourself down 10-0, they might fire you during the game.
Florida and Florida State are kind of in a similar capacity to me. I do want to say, if you want to sprinkle a little bit on a prop bet, I feel like we're going to have a safety in this game. I feel like there's going to be a safety. Typically, those odds go pretty high. I don't think it'd be crazy to sprinkle.
I don't think it'd be crazy in the middle of first halftime tie, too.
Okay. Taylor, where are you going with this one?
I instinctively, I feel like A&M's just more put together. And, it would be hard for me. I love the Swamp. I love the Gators. But I just feel like that there's just a little bit more cohesiveness with A&M. And not to mention, if you think about it, going on the road is a good thing, for teams sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have the noise, for me, I'm in a hotel room. My mom's not messing with me. I don't have to worry about ticket, I have to worry about giving tickets out to a bunch of family members. I feel like I'm on a road game right now. So I feel like if you already cohesively, if you're a little bit more cohesive and you're going into a situation like that, I think A&M dials it in, and I think that they win. I think they probably win by a touchdown. I think everybody knows, and I think the athletic department, and the SEC knew that this was going to be a tough year for Billy Napier, period, and Florida, period. Yeah. So I just, I think we all love Billy. But I think I just feel like Texas A&M's got a little bit more cohesiveness, and then throw in the road game and not having that distraction. I think A&M comes out with a win.
Even as I'm starting this sentence, I don't know who I'm picking in this football game. I mean, Florida's playing in the swamp, and Texas A&M's lost how many road games in a row? 10? 10 straight road games in a row. On the flip side of that, Florida's going to not only possibly start a freshman, but they got a 2-platoon quarterback system going, and the swamp didn't do them any favors when Miami rolled into town. Right now, I'm going to take Texas A&M to win the football game in triple overtime. They win by the 2-point conversion.
So, all right, they went in triple overtime to win 10-7. I just want everybody to understand, if you've watched our show, all 3 out of the 4 of us picked Texas A&M. And Blaine is rolling with Florida. The odds on that would have been astronomical. Astronomical. Who did they kidnap? That's what.
All right, 2 more games here. Missouri hosting Boston College in a top 25 ranked matchup. Obviously, Boston College with the win over Florida State. We don't really know if that's impressive yet or not until more of the season plays out, and they got a dogfight with Memphis this weekend. But Missouri untested up to this point, but can Boston College come in with Thomas Castellanos and give them a fight?
Well, we told Missouri fans this week, at worst, at least you get to find out defensively where you're at. Like, we have a good idea of what Missouri can do offensively with Brady Cook and Luther Burden and Drinkowitz and them witching it up over there on the offensive side. Boston College has been pretty good defensively. They tackle well in space, but you can't catch what you can't tackle, and Luther Burden's basically A-train from the boys. So when I look at this game and this matchup, I do feel like we know more about Boston College. This game, to me, if Boston College is going to win, and it's pretty obvious, but it still needs to happen, Thomas Castellanos, when he does create, when they're not running Q counter, when they're not running, their RPO stuff, when he has to create outside of the pocket and keep his eyes down the field, he's got to hold on to the ball, number one, and he can't put it in harm's way and give Missouri the momentum early. If he can play clean, and Bill O'Brien, we know he's kind of a straight-laced guy, he's going to put Castellanos in the best situation possible with formations, motions, and things like that. If Castellanos can play clean, I think Boston College can stay in this game with the running game that they have. But if you're Missouri, and all this talk in the offseason about we're taking that next step again, we won a lot of games last year, and here we come, we're going to burst on the scene. This is the week where you show us you're a complete and balanced team. I think Missouri wins. I think this game is tight. I think Luther Burden makes a couple big plays in the second half. I think Missouri wins this game by 10 to 13 points. But Boston College is going to put up a fight, and I think we'll feel a little bit better about Missouri defensively after this weekend.
Yeah, if Boston College needs to know anything, you're not walking in here to play Florida State. I don't care who you've played. If you're Missouri, it's not easy to go 2 weeks and not give up a single point.
No, that's true.
They won 52-0 against, I believe, Murray State and beat Buffalo 38-0. I think you're going to see a Missouri who's a complete football team. I think Brady Cook, we know who he is. Luther Burden Jr. is the best receiver in college football, in my opinion. And I think this defense, although they have new faces, are pretty damn good on the line of scrimmage. I think you're going to see that today. Castellanos in the running game is good, but I don't know how much I believe in that Boston College team as a passing offense. And if I'm Missouri, I'm going to go ahead and take away the run and make you beat me through the air. I like Missouri here and to cover.
Taylor, how you feeling?
Missouri all the way. I think, look, we can look at these contests, and I mean, BC, they won that big game, but I mean, you're going into an SEC environment, correct? You're going into Mizzou. And, I think that they're going to be fired up. I think this is where you see Missouri really light it up. I think Boston College will get tired. I think Mizzou hangs like 28 on them.
Yeah. I actually think, I think they hit Luther Burden on play action on the first play of the game. First offensive play Missouri's has. I think they're going to go play action and go deep.
Go ahead and clip that thing.
Get the band
fired. Bill O'Brien's still a heck of a hire for Boston College, and I think that they're going to do great things there and a great quarterback developer for Thomas Castellanos. I think Missouri, this is just one of those roadblocks that Missouri says, hey, let's just keep proving who we are. The schedule isn't that tough at the beginning of the season, really throughout. Let's just keep proving who we are every single week and force our way into the SEC championship game to show that what you were talking about, we have taken that next step. It's not about 10 wins or double-digit wins anymore. Let's really go get in the conference championship now that there's no more divisions anymore and prove that we're a real player. I'll take Missouri in the football game as well. Which brings us to the last one, an all-SEC matchup here. LSU going to go on the road and play South Carolina. The line's been right around a touchdown. I think it's 6.5 right now.
And the weather, this weekend in a lot of places is gonna be bad, right? The question is how bad. If I'm South Carolina, I want it to be like literally the day after tomorrow bad. I want to see Jake Gyllenhaal walking around in snowshoes, while Dennis Quaid looks for him. That's how bad it needs to be, I think, for South Carolina to win this game, just because Lenore Sellers and this offense haven't shown us, and he's young and they're still figuring it out, the ability to be organized and put it together. A lot of the plays against Kentucky last week were improvised, right? Which there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't live off that the whole year, right? You can't hope to find a dead animal walking around the woods to survive. At some point, you got to know where they're at and go take them out yourself. So I think LSU does have a better team, a better roster overall, but I get a sneaking suspicion in this game. LSU being down the defensive lineman they're moving Harold Perkins again. He's going to be a spy on Lenore's. I think it's going to be tight throughout. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think LSU kicks a field goal to win in overtime. I think this game goes OT, and I think LSU finds a way to squeak it out. But Lenore's is going to make some plays in that creative process. The question, like I said about Castellanos, can you not make the catastrophic turnover? I think LSU wins, but barely.
Look, I've been beefing with South Carolina fans for a while, and that beef's gonna continue.
No.
Give me LSU, and I think you can buy this spread up to 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
13.5.
Really?
Look, I don't believe
Maybe
in
right.
Lenore Sellers yet. You go back and watch that Kentucky game. Kentucky did everything to lose that football game. I really wasn't impressed with anything offensively from South Carolina. I know the weather's going to be bad, but I do think this is going to be Nuss's game. I think these receivers on the outside on LSU will be the difference. And Dylan Stewart's an NFL player. He's going to be a first-round pick. Will Campbell's pretty damn good, too. And if there's anything this LSU offensive line can do, they can pass block. A lot of it's going to have to deal with the weather. But I like LSU, and I like LSU big.
Taylor, Gamecocks?
I like LSU. I think this is a statement game. It's interesting that we're at a period to where we're having to have teams make statements. But I do think that this is going to be able to really put LSU in a situation to where LSU's okay, this is the team who's going to compete a little bit in the SEC, and if they catch fire, they could be really good. I think LSU goes in there. And look, there's more horses at LSU than South Carolina. I think Shane Beamer's a great coach. I think he's he gets good game plans together. But I just think as far as just the horses versus the horses, I'll take LSU to go in there and make a statement.
Man, I'd love to take South Carolina to keep things interesting, and congrats to them on hosting game day for the first time in 10 years. But I'm a little bit closer to you on this one. I think I'm going to take LSU. I do think it could be close in the first half, and if the weather is bad, maybe even close for those first 3 quarters. Just think at some point LSU breaks the doors down and not only wins but covers the spread near the end.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a game. It is a big moment for South Carolina. But Taylor, your life's been full of big moments, man. You got a ton more coming up. Everybody needs to go follow you on social media. Can you just tell everybody where they can find you? Again, you're all over the country, man. You've been doing it for a long time. And again, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's real simple. TaylorHicks.com. I got some music coming out. Be touring in the spring, and I love me some.
Hit it, baby. Let's get it.
Rain and cold.
Taylor, you're the man, dude. We got to get you back on at some point. We got to come check out a show. Thanks again, and enjoy the football watching this weekend, brother.
You guys have a great football weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Taylor.
Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up, I never thought much about race. It never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
If I'm going to sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover.
They gon' say I'm racist.
Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certification. And what you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. Listen more for you in this field. Is America inherently racist?
The word inherent is challenging there.
I want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah, this country is a piece of
White.
folks.
White.
Trash. White supremacy.
White woman. White boy.
Is there a black person around?
There's a black person right here. Does he not
They gon'
exist?
say I'm racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi. What's your name?
I'm Matt.
Just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They gon' say you racist.
In theaters now. Rated PG-13.